Om asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness unto light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. We have gotten two clues to non-dual meditation, two doorways. One is Sarvam Brahmeti Vijnanad. The realization all of this is the one consciousness, though it seems to be different from me, though object seems to be different from consciousness. The teaching here is the object is the consciousness appearing to itself, just like your dreams. Whatever, whoever, wherever, whatever is happening in the dream, whoever you meet in the dream, wherever you are in the dream, all of that, whatever, whoever, wherever, is nothing other than you, the dreamer. True? Similarly here, whatever, whoever, wherever we experience in life, including these bodies and personalities, are nothing but you, the consciousness. Though it seems to be completely different from you, an object. That is the extraordinary nature of Maya. It presents you to yourself as an object. Hence there is oneness. You understand why this is non-dual? In your dream, you are there is a place you are walking in, maybe there's a nice garden, sky, lake. There are other people around you. Clearly see a world of duality. But when you wake up, when you remember all of that, what do you want? Crucial knowledge comes. Sarvam dream iti vijnanad. Everything is dream, therefore non-duality. Because all those people, all those places, all that sky, earth, whatever you saw in the dream, every leaf which has fallen from the leaf and covering the ground, which you saw in your dream, all of those numerous entities are only one entity really, you. They are not a countable second apart from you. Not a countable second, not two. Not two, non-dual. In Sanskrit, Advaitam. Advaitam, non-dual. So, Sarvam Brahma iti Vijnana, that I am awareness, not very difficult to discover. But whatever is presented to awareness is nothing other than that awareness. Though it seems to be another. Awareness is one without a second, it seems to be multiple. Awareness is pure subject, it seems to be object. Awareness is unchanging, it is continuously changing. Awareness is not an object of raga, dvesha, like and dislike. It is evenly present in likes and dislikes. This world becomes an object of likes and dislikes. Awareness is not subject to misery, suffering, frustration. This world is full of misery, suffering, frustration. And yet it is nothing other than that awareness. We don't directly say it is awareness itself, because then it will be every characteristic of that is opposite to awareness, is opposite to Brahman. And this is objective. Brahman is not an object. That which is not a thing, existence itself is not a thing. It appears as existing things. Consciousness appears as conscious experiences. Ananda nature, bliss, appears as sukha dukkha. The constant struggle against misery and the striving to attain some kind of happiness. Underneath all of them is pure being, pure awareness, pure bliss, Satchidananda. Once this is realized, this itself becomes, as Sri Ramakrishna said, Majar Kuti, the house of mirth. House of mirth. For yourself, for the enlightened one. Never say for those who are unenlightened. If somebody is suffering, disease, dying, pain, don't say, oh, it's a house of mirth. It isn't. From your perspective, it is. Then the second door we got was Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha Vijatiya Tiraskriti Iti Niyama. All the rules of Niyama, the moral practices, internal, external cleanliness, the deliberate deprivation of oneself in austerities, then the practice of contentment regarding worldly affairs, all of those things, regular study of scriptures, worship of God, devotional worship of God, all of them, the effect they are looking for, you can have it by continuously focusing on centering yourself in awareness. Sajatya vritti pravaha. Not I am conscious, that is automatic. I am consciousness. I am Chaitanya. Okay. Here's a play of words. Shankaracharya is humorous. Niyamo hi parananda. Niyama in Sanskrit and in Hindi and Indian languages means rules. And immediately when we hear these rules, how long we have to follow this? So what is this how long? Parananda, this is happiness, something that makes you blissful. You never say how long. Kids, when they're playing outside, do they make a long face and say, how long do we have to play? No. They say, how long do we have to study? You make rules about that. Where do you make rules? Where something is good for you, but we will not do it naturally. There you make what is called vidhi, injunctions, do's. Where do you give prohibitions, negations, don'ts? Where something is bad for you, but you're naturally attracted to do it. Unless you're stopped, you will do it. Addictions, all kinds of sense indulgences, so distraction. Unless, so child for example, unless there is a certain structure, otherwise what will happen? A child for example will flow by his or her instincts. Instinct is to go towards what is pleasurable and is to avoid what is painful. Now unfortunately, many things which are pleasurable are not ultimately good for the child. Unfortunately, many things which are painful are good for the child. It would have been fine if all that was good, dharmika and spiritual, were naturally pleasurable to us. It would have been great, all that is sinful, adharmika, and naturally painful to us. But it's not like that. Why not? Well, it is like that for the advanced spiritual seeker. For the sattvika mindset, what we prayer, meditation, study, self-control are pleasurable. Indulgence, recklessness, anger, envy are painful. And so they will avoid it, automatic. But before that, it requires training. Bhagavad Gita makes it clear. What is like nectar in the beginning and painful in the end, that is rajasic. Yattadagre amritopamam, just like nectar, pleasurable. Nice food, nice music, company, make merry, pleasurable. But at the end of it, disgusted. Someone who browses internet continuously, hour after hour after hour, completely immersed in it. But the end of it, does anybody, not spiritual person, anybody feel enriched by the whole experience? No, disgusted by the whole experience. Same person, let that person seriously study something, that same hour after hour after hour. At the end of it, do you feel enriched and integrated? Yes. So sattvic joy, rajasic joy. Rajasic joy is that which is like nectar in the beginning and poison in the end. Bhagavad Gita. Sattvic joy is like poison in the beginning and nectar in the end. Yattadagre vishamiva pariname amritopamam. And that comes, so how will you get that joy? That comes through practice. Rock music and classical music, both Western and Indian classical music. To appreciate that requires training. But just popular rock music, you just go there, you start tapping your foot and moving around because it's instinctive. It's easy. Okay. Now, moving on, number 106. Third of 15. Tyaga prapancha rupasya chidatmatva valokanaat tyago hi mahatam pujyah sadyo moksha mayo yatah Tyaga, abandonment. The abandonment of illusory universe by realizing it as the all-conscious Atman is the real renunciation honored by the great, since it's of the nature of immediate liberation. So renunciation is helpful in spiritual life. And what is yogic renunciation? Don't be in a crowd, go away to the mountain, star lake retreat, go away to a cave, then give away riches, deliberately cultivate a very simple, a poor life, as whatever is reasonable, so that give away external obligations, family, job, basically become a monk. That is the yogic renunciation. Why would they do that? Because that clears the life. Possessions, obligations, relationships, and generally transactions with the world. All of this takes up most of our energy, most of our time, and worst of all, most of our attention. And it creates reactions in the mind. If you just let go of all that, just like that, already automatically you will see the mind will fall into a kind of peace. And automatically it will turn Godwards. We think that we are not spiritual, we are not religious. It's that we have kept the mind too busy and distracted. Remove the distractions, the weight on the mind, it will move Godwards. These are instruments, body and mind, senses and mind, instruments for liberation. So God has not really damaged us. We have damaged these instruments. If you liberate it from the pressures that we have put it under, it will move Godwards. So the idea about renunciation was Tyage naike amritatva manashu. A few attain to an immortality by tyaga, by renunciation. All right. But that's the external renunciation. Is it guaranteed? No. To give you enlightenment and freedom? No. Real renunciation is internal. And the deepest form of real renunciation is this Advaitic renunciation. That is not external renunciation. That anybody can practice, whether householder or monk. This is very internal, and it depends on not the bodily renunciation, not the mental renunciation, it's the renunciation which comes through knowledge. Renunciation which comes through realization. Isha Upanishad speaks of it. Isha vasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita magridha kasya svidhanam. The first mantra of the Isha Upanishad. Mahatma Gandhi said if all of Hinduism were to disappear and only this first line of the first mantra of Isha Upanishad remains, all of Hinduism would remain. What is that first line? This entire world of the moving and non-moving, all beings in this world, you have to cover it with the divine. Isha Vasyam. Vasyam means, in Sanskrit, Shankaracharya says, Achhadaniyam, to be covered. And then I explained, covered means to be uncovered. Uncovered means to be discovered. And he gives the example later on of sandalwood, how by scrubbing, so sandalwood has a layer which comes over it, and the fragrance of sandalwood is obstructed. Sometimes a foul smell comes out of it. You scrub it and scrub it and scrub it, then the real fragrance of sandalwood will come. That foul smell will go away, real fragrance will come out. If you leave it under water for a long time, that layer comes on top. Therefore, so the way to get the fragrance of sandalwood is not by putting sandalwood spray. It is natural there. Even the sandalwood spray has borrowed it from the sandal extract. So sandal has got the natural fragrance. You have to bring it out, uncover it, discover it by the scrubbing process. The whole scrubbing process is spiritual practice. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, raja yoga, jnana yoga. There's a scrub. Now, the Upanishad says, everywhere there is God. This is what Mahatma Gandhi said. All of Hinduism will remain. This transcendent, immanent nature of God. God is beyond time, space, causation, beyond time, space, object, and in and through time, space, and all. Here, everywhere. Where is the clay? Every bit of the pot is clay. Where is consciousness when you are hearing that sound? Every bit of that sound is consciousness, but you the consciousness, not an object. You know what it is like? What does the sound do? What does consciousness do for the sound, and what does the sound do for consciousness? This one? What does you, the consciousness, what does it do for the sound? C plus O? Experience. It enables you to experience the sound. Simple. You, the consciousness, you experience the sound. But what does the sound do for consciousness? Manifests. You've been listening to Vedanta quite a long time. Good. This is a veteran class, master class in Vedanta. It manifests. What do these eyes do to a mirror? You can see the mirror with the eyes. What does the mirror do for the eyes or the face? It manifests, it reflects your face. What does consciousness do for the world? It illumines the world, reveals the world, experiences the world. What does the world do for consciousness? Manifests. Now suppose the world is not anything other than consciousness. Every bit of it is consciousness. Then why does the consciousness need that world? To see itself.
But the characteristics are opposite.
That is opposite.
But why are they opposite if it's the reflection of the original?
Yes, because why are the characteristics opposite? If the reflection of the original, if it's nothing other than consciousness. Notice it's not entirely opposite. World exists. Where does that existence come from? From you. The world shines, is revealed. Where is revelation possible? Because of you, the consciousness. And after enlightenment, the world is nothing but bliss. Where does that bliss come from? From you. You are that bliss. Even the worldly bliss which people pursue is actually, let's say, like a Shankaracharya says, like the spray from the ocean of bliss which is within you. So characteristics are not entirely opposite. It's there. But then why at all opposite? It mostly seems to be opposite. The reason is the world has to be an other for consciousness to reflect itself. Other means different. You must introduce the element of difference there. Then only you can have something separate from you.
So contrast is needed?
Contrast is needed. Contrast becomes inevitable when you develop a principle of difference. Though there can be no difference because it's non-dual. When non-duality is realized, then it's no longer a problem. That otherness is no longer a problem. Otherness is a problem as long as non-duality is not realized. That Alan Watts story is there, that God existed from time immemorial. Then God wanted to play. But who will God play with? There's nobody else except God, non-dual. Then God thought and thought and thought what to do. But God is very smart. So God hit upon a solution. God pretended to be not God. Now there are two, God and God pretending to be not God. Good, they had a great time together. But then problems came. God is so good at pretending to be not God, God forgot that he was God. And now God pretending to be not God is searching for God. This is the universe, this is life, this is your life, this is who you are. This is our life. How do you know? What is the proof? The proof is the moment you find God, you are fulfilled. The proof of that is every religion, every spiritual path, you find people who you call saints, enlightened people, whatever you call them, Jivan Muktas, Bodhisattvas. One common characteristic to all of them is they are fulfilled. They are fulfilled. They are deeply happy, fulfilled, unshakably happy and peaceful. How so? So the whole goal of it has been fulfilled in them. All right. Tyaga. So then the Ishopanishad says, Tena tyaktena bhunjita. The next line of Ishopanishad says, by renunciation protect this knowledge. Enjoy this knowledge. Bhunjita has two meanings. The Sanskrit word bhunjita, protection and enjoyment. Enjoy this knowledge, enjoy the world. I remember I went to this meeting of atheists. I mean, not atheists, they are all scientists. Sean Carroll was releasing his book, The Big Picture. So I went. There's a long story short. I went there and he was happy to meet me and another monk. We had gone there. And the story is that he is from MIT. Not MIT, sorry, Caltech. And he released the book and he used our ashram's parking lot for the program. I said, if an atheist can use a monastery's parking lot for releasing a book, an atheist book, then monks can also go to his book release party. So two of us went to see what happens there. He was very friendly, very nice person. He gave me a book, copy of his book, and he signed it, "Enjoy the Universe, Swami." The way to enjoy the universe is the only way you can enjoy it safely is to realize it's your mirror. It is you appearing as the universe, this body, mind, external universe. The oneness is the way to enjoy. Ingersoll, the great agnostic, Vivekananda met him in the late 19th century when he came to the United States. He was a very well-known public speaker. He went along saying that I don't believe in religion, enjoy this life, and told Vivekananda, I don't believe in all of your religion, spirituality. I believe in squeezing the orange of this life dry, extracting every drop of it. Vivekananda said, I believe the same thing too, except in my case, the choice of fruit is different. For me, it is a mango. But he said, I know I cannot die, therefore I am not in a hurry, Vivekananda said. I know that all are one with God. I'm interacting with God all the time. I'm paraphrasing him. Imagine my joy, Vivekananda says. Imagine the joy of it, that you're living with God all the time. Live your life in this way and get 10,000-fold more from the orange. Squeeze your orange in this way. Get 10,000-fold more from it. Vivekananda, literally his words, get every last drop. This is the way of enjoying the universe. Enjoy the universe, Swami. This is the way. Tyaga, renunciation. What renunciation? Seeing God in everything and staying there, centering there, seeing that I alone am appearing as the universe and staying there. This is renunciation. Chidatmakatva avalokanat. By seeing. Seeing how? Through knowledge. That I am indeed all this. Shankaracharya, when it is said, very interesting in his commentary, when the Upanishad says, Ishavasyam idam sarvam, by the Lord all this is to be covered. See the way Shankaracharya interprets. He says, Isha, by the Lord. He says, Paramatmana, by the Atma of everybody. That is the Lord. Who is the Lord? Paramatma. What is Paramatma? Your own Atma, Swena Atmana. By your own self, everything is to be covered. What is the realization? Aham evedam sarvam. I alone am all of this. So from God pervading all of this, Shankaracharya in one sentence comes down to, I am all of this. This is the meaning. And this is renunciation. This is renunciation. Not walking away from your job, family. I had this realization 20 years ago in the high Himalayas. I had spent a few months and not only walked away from the world, from family and everything, but also I had walked away from the monastery. Even that was not enough renunciation for me. I wanted to spend time alone meditating in the Himalayas. So I went there and I spent 2 months in Gangotri. I'll tell you some stories sometimes. But then what happened was, on the way back, I stayed in our little cottage in Uttarkashi, which is on the way back to the plains. And one day in the afternoon, so every day we go there, even now I think, they go for begging for food and come back and we heat it up and eat it in the ashram, in the cottage. And there's a little room, I was lying on the cot and reading Vivekananda's book. I still remember that scene. Vivekananda says, so what had I done? Run away from the world and stay in the Himalayas? And Vivekananda is writing, he who runs away from the world to meditate and die in a Himalayan cave. I said, yeah. Runs away to meditate in Himalayan cave, has missed the way. I said, oh no. Then next sentence, Vivekananda says, he who plunges into the foolishnesses and the vanities of the world has missed the way. But then what is the way? If you plunge into the world, grab the world in all ways. Money, power, position, relationships, enjoyments. Vivekananda says you've missed the way. If you run away from it all, you've missed the way. Then Vivekananda says, the way is to divinize everything. Wherever you are, with whomever you are, in whatever circumstance, to see God in everything. Seeing God in everything, that is the lecture. That is his interpretation of Isha Upanishad. The seeing, I alone am appearing. This is my mirror. Why am I appearing like this? This is my mirror. I am seeing my own face there. This is where I tell the story of the princess of Kashi. I have to tell it. Yes or no?
Yes.
No? So once in days of yore, Vivekananda says, in days of yore on Ganga's shore. So there was this kingdom in ancient India, and in the court, royal court, there was a theatrical performance. In the theatrical performance, one of the characters was the princess of Kashi. And the kingdom of Kashi, the princess, and she was supposed to be a little girl. Who will play the princess of Kashi? The queen said, the prince of that kingdom. He's 5 years old, and you can dress him up as a princess, and he'll play the role. And that was done. When he looked so cute, the queen mother, she said, paint a picture. And selfie not there at that time. So paint a picture. The court painter had to come and paint a picture of the boy dressed as a princess. And that was done. Years passed. 15 years later, the prince was now quite grown up, doing princely stuff. And one day he was exploring the palace, rummaging around old things. He went down to the basement, and rummaging around old stuff there, he found this old painting. He rubbed the dust of the painting, and he found the princess of Kashi. And he looked at the girl, and he looked at the date, 15 years ago. So she must be my age. And he fell in love with her. And he felt, I have to marry this princess. Then only I will be happy. Otherwise I won't be happy. But he's too shy to tell anybody else. And then, but he moped. He didn't do all the princely things. His father and mother, king and queen, noticed, but they couldn't get anything out of him. He was too shy to tell them. Finally, the wise old minister asked him, what ails you, prince? Like, what's your problem? And the prince said, I am in love. Oh, good, good. Who is the lucky girl? Oh, it's a princess. Oh, a princess, even better. Princess of where, which kingdom? Princess of Kashi. Oh, really, really? Where did you meet her? I haven't quite met her, but I saw this, an old painting, but she's my age. I can see the date of the painting, it's like she's my age. I saw this painting. The minister said, wait a minute, painting of Princess of Kashi, old, where did you see it? Downstairs in our basement, take me there. So they went there, and he showed him, this is the princess, and I will not be happy until I marry her. I will not marry anybody else. And the minister said, you sit down. This is not the princess of Kashi. Whoever she is, I will marry her. No, then he told the whole story, how he, 15 years ago, he was dressed up as the princess of Kashi, and this is what was done, and then the painting was made. This painting, Princess of Kashi, is you, Tattvamasi. You are that thou art, O prince. Now immediately what happened to the prince's desire for the princess of Kashi? Renunciation, tyaga, but what kind of renunciation? Did he feel that, oh, I should not marry the princess of Kashi? No. Did he feel that I cannot because she's already married or dead or somebody? No. Or did he lose his desires? I no longer want to marry the princess of Kashi. No. There is no princess of Kashi, there never was, there never will be. This one is not different from me, though it looks completely different. So immediately the desire disappeared. Chidatmakatva avalokanat, by seeing it as myself. I am that. Where? Which part of it is other than me? Which part of the pot is other than the clay? Nowhere. Which princess of Kashi exists apart from that prince? No one. Swami Vivekananda says, the world is dead in itself. Things are dead in themselves. We breathe life into them. Then we run after them or we run away from them. Chidatmakatva avalokanat. This is tyagaha. Renunciation. When we are powerfully attracted or repelled, terror or temptation, apply this. This is a door to non-duality. Door to non-duality. If you have non-duality, terror and temptation both will go away. What will be there? Oneness and peace. Oneness and peace. What about physical renunciation? You may or you may not. If it is natural, it will come to you. You may be in the midst of greatest wealth and pomp and power. Nripo Janaka Raghavo is a saying in Uttarakhand. Kings, Janaka, father of Sita, is a king. Raghava, Ramachandra, is a king. They are jnanis. Sukadeva is a tyagi. Suka's tyagi. Sukadeva is a great tyagi, the Paramahamsa. In the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna we find, when people saw Sri Ramakrishna, is he the sage Sukadeva of, you get in Bhagavatam and old scriptures, the person who wears only, either goes about naked or wears only a loin cloth and has no attachments in the world, completely detached. And the verse says, both are equal, they are all equally jnanis. They are all equally jnanis. So, with this understanding, you sit in meditation. Somebody sent me a cartoon. People are meditating. Two persons sitting. One is saying, who am I, who am I, who am I? And the other person sitting next to it, who is that guy? And underneath, very nice Vedantic, it says, complete the analysis before you sit in meditation. With the clarity, I am this witness consciousness, then you sit. Don't keep on saying, who am I, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. No, 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 that's not meditation. That's the Vedantic Shravana Manana. That story of Shukadeva and Janaka Raja is there. Ashtavakra, no, Shukadeva I think. Shukadeva is sitting and Janaka Raja is sitting there meditating. Janaka, the emperor, he's practicing Vedanta. He says, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. And Shukadeva is a monk. He has got a water pot, and it's called danda. That means they put their hand on that stick, and they can do japa or something like that. They keep it there. So the stick and the water pot. And Shukadeva says, he looks at Janaka. Janaka is going on, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Shukadeva starts off. This is a stick, this is a water pot, stick, water pot, Dandakamandalu, Dandakamandalu, Dandakamandalu. And Janaka Raja gets annoyed. He looks at him and, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. This is Dandakamandalu, Dandakamandalu, this is a stick and a pot. Then exasperated, Janaka Raja says to Shukadeva, everybody knows it's a stick and a pot. Why do you have to shout? Exactly. You should be absolutely clear that you are Brahman. What are you repeating? Repetition has its level. But beyond that, you should be clear. Do I have to sit down and do japa? I am Sarvapriyananda, I am Sarvapriyananda, I am Sarvapriyananda. You'll think I'm mad. The knowledge that I am Sarvapriyananda is so well settled, you don't have to repeat it anymore. Similarly. And that is renunciation. No matter whether you're a king or you have nothing in the world. It should be literally equal to you. King and nothing in the world. You say it's very difficult. It isn't actually. So, it is possible for monks, but we are householders. People say we are householders, we have so many attachments. One monk put it this way, you have really no attachments. Consciousness has no attachments. Asangaha. Nothing sticks to you. Nobody sticks to you, whether you like it or not. Even if you try to hold on to them, they will not stick to you. People will come and go out of your life. Some in moments, some in decades, but they will go. Thoughts come and go, moment to moment. Feelings come and go, intense feelings, gone again. Notice, at this moment, every thought that you have had ever in your life has gone. Every feeling that you have had, no matter how bad, how good, how sublime, how sinful, has gone. Therefore, every person, every thought, every feeling which you have in life from now on, throughout, will go away. Will not last. Nothing will last. Why worry about it? Magical display. Shankaracharya says in the Dakshinamurti Stotram, Mayabhiva Vijrimbhitaha, a magical display by a master magician. Sri Ramakrishna says, the magic is not real, but the magician is real. This is magic. Whose magic? Your magic. Then number 107. Yasmad vacho nivartante, yasmad vacho nivartante, aprapya manasa saha, aprapya manasa saha, yanmaunam yogibhir gamyam, yanmaunam yogibhir gamyam, tadbhavet sarvada buddha, tadbhavet sarvada buddha. The wise should always be one with that silence from which words together with the mind turn back without reaching it, but which is attainable by the yogins. Yogins here means Jnana Yoga. So silence. Silence is very useful for meditation. Remember, yoga is for meditation. For meditation, silence is useful. Be quiet. Physically quiet, verbally quiet, mentally quiet. Then only meditation is possible. I sometimes tell you of the monk who is giving meditation instructions. Crude but effective. I told in Hindi, Hilo mat, don't move. Bolo mat, keep quiet. Socho mat, don't think. Silence. So that is the silence of the yogi. Especially the silence of not speaking. Enormous amount of energy is wasted in speaking. And you will realize the value of that when you do not speak. Deliberately keep periods of silence. This is called maunam, silence. Recently I met a yogi of all the places in the United Nations. He's come from India. He travels all over the world to teach meditation. One of the most luminous faces I've seen. Smiling, shining eyes, a very pure face. A small man with white hair and beard. And he kept looking at me and smiling for some reason. Anyway, I realized the secret of his luminosity, of his serenity. He had a name tag in front, name tag. In the name tag, his name is not written. What's written is, in silence. That means he's not speaking. But he does speak. He flips it around and then he talks to you. So he spoke to me. He says he spends long periods in silence and otherwise he speaks only about spiritual matters, nothing else. One Swami I met, one of the greatest Swamis I've met, wandering monk. Whenever you go to him, he will talk about Brahman, Vedanta, Advaita, meditation, knowledge. Somebody asked him why. He said, my guru warned me. Two things he warned me. One is, whenever people, devotees, householders, devotees, bhakta, whenever they come to you, before they can open your mouth, start speaking about Vedanta. Otherwise, they'll start speaking about the world with you. One. Second thing he cautioned, he told me, was never start an ashram. He said, I violated the second one. I started an ashram and paid dearly for it. But the first one, he says, he practices. So, maunam, silence. I have known monks who keep silent. Forced silence is not good. It can lead to repression. I have known a monk who was under silence, vow of silence for more than 1 year, I think. But he would talk at night when he fell asleep. So it's like forced silence. That's why it's coming out. Rather, the silence is, Mahatma Gandhi used to keep silent 1 day a week. Swami Ranganathan ji would keep silent 1 day a week. It's good to speak. There's a rule. Satyam cha, hitam cha, mitam cha. Satyam means truth. Filter your speech for whether it's true or not. If you speak a lot, there is always a chance of telling untruths. And then hitam, is it beneficial? Mitam means, is it limited? So we give these long talks. Swami Gambhiranji was the 11th president of our order. I have heard he used to say to his attendants, and he would give talks. He was one of the most vastly learned Swamis of our order. 8 Upanishads translation, Holy Mother's book, Swami Vivekananda's book, all of these, and so many translations of the Upanishads, of the Bhagavad Gita with the commentary of Shankaracharya into English, Brahma Sutras with the commentary, and they are so precise, even now they are used across, I saw it being used in Harvard University. So that Swami, so vastly learned. His speeches were always short, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And he would say, what do all these monks say? How come they have so much to say? I can't find much to say. So whatever he said was absolutely compact. Satyam cha, hitam cha, mitam cha. The truth, is it beneficial for others and is it limited? Limited. Then there's the old saying, old Indian saying is there. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, ma bruyat, asatyam apriyam cha. So say that which is true. Say that which is sweet, agreeable, sweet. Do not speak the untruth and do not speak harshly. I'm always reminded by this of Mark Twain, who said, I've often seen people who claim to be fond of the brutal truth are often more fond of brutality than the truth. I speak the truth, basically wanting to hurt others. So this is the rule for speech. But what is speech here? What is silence here? Maunam, practice of maunam, silence. But what is silence in non-duality? Different. Brahman, that which speech cannot reach, that which words cannot describe, which mind cannot think about, that is the great silence. Brahman is the great silence. The silence beyond Om. When you chant Om, we chant Om. But what's the meaning of that? It has three sounds. A, U, Ma. A stands for this waking state. You and your entire waking state. Whatever you're seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, remember, all of that together is your waking state. Waker and waking world is A. It is just used to denote, shorthand. So that with one sound you can grasp the whole of your waking state. What we call our lives. But then U, it goes into U. The sound U, shorthand for denoting our dream state, our internal world. Technically our dream state, but if you go deeper, we have an internal world all the time, the subtle world which we have. That's U. All our dreams, and by extension, all our thoughts, feelings, emotions, ideas, memories. Whatever is contacted by senses externally, see, hear, smell, see, touch, that is A. Whatever is internal, thoughts, feelings, emotions, ideas, fantasies, speculations, fears, whatever it is U. You and that world. And then deep sleep, blank it all out. Absolute quiet of deep sleep. That is And this is also very interesting, how the entire range of sound is covered. All the sounds that the human beings can make, with from mouth open to lips closed. And it covers the entire gamut of sounds. There's a deep philosophy behind it. Universe and language, they're parallel. Wittgenstein said, the limits of the world are the limits of my language. Thousands of years ago in the Mandukya Upanishad. What is your world? Your everything that you can experience. Everything that you can think, feel, imagine, conceive. And the absence of all of that. The whole thing is your world. And that is expressed by language. What is language? Words. What are words? Made up of phonemes, all the sounds. And all the sounds are covered by Om. See, on one side, language, the whole of language. The Om is the basis for all sounds. All sounds are the basis for all words and all language. And all language represents this entire universe. All of that is Om, represented by Om. But the silence after Om represents the witness consciousness, which is not part of, which is not a physical thing which can be sensed. It's not something that you can think about. It's not the absence also, blankness also. It is that to which everything appears and disappears. Appears, waking, dreaming. Disappears, deep sleep. And all in between states also. Whether it is hallucination or mystical experiences or drug-induced experiences or coma or whatever it is. The whole range is our experience of the universe. Om. And the silence expresses Turiya, the fourth. Waker first, dreamer second, deep sleeper third, you the witness consciousness fourth. Waker A, dreamer U, deep sleeper You the witness consciousness silence. It is from silence A, U, Ma arise and fall back. It is from that witness consciousness waking, dreaming, deep sleep arises and falls back. It is in that consciousness which you are. Sound arises, plays around and falls back. When the sound fades away, what is left? You, the consciousness. But now, that consciousness. Notice somebody said silence. Silence was there. When the sound is there, there is no silence. When the sound goes away, there is silence again. But both silence and sound are underlined by, illumined by what? You, the consciousness. So you, the consciousness, this is a silence which underlies sound also. There is a silence which is the opposite of sound. If there is sound, no silence. If there is silence, no sound. But there is a silence which is underneath sound also, from which all sounds arise, into which all sounds disappear. And that it's a very deep silence. It's actually experienceable. We have an ashram called Mayavati in the high Himalayas. It's famous for its silence. Some kind of acoustic effect created by the valley. It's not particularly high, it's 5,000, 6,000 feet high only. It's that place where Jim Corbett wrote the tigers, man-eaters of Champaran and all that, that area. So and Advaita Ashram was set up there by Swami Vivekananda himself. I mean, saviors from England. Swami Vivekananda visited it. So it's deep silence. It's an extraordinary silence. You have to feel it. Just go and sit there. I still remember in the depths of the night, absolute silence everywhere in the mountains and the forests all around. No sound. Only in a far distant valley there is a bird called the bell bird. It sings. It's in the night it sings. Its voice is ding dong. In the far valley you will hear ding dong. That's all. Nothing else. And up there, if you look up, if you go out into the grounds of the ashram from the cottage, you will see it's ablaze with stars. And in the distance, the entire range of the Himalayas, the high Himalayas, including K2, then there is this Kedarnath, all those towering mountains, up all 20,000 plus feet peaks, shining with snow in the moonlight or starlight, and absolute silence. And there's a Japanese monk who planted a Japanese cherry blossom tree. So sometimes when cherry blossoms are there, you can see the falling white petals in the starlight. Very, very deep silence. Now the interesting thing is, after my stay in the ashram, I went back. You go down to the city of Lucknow. Very busy city. Very, very busy and very noisy. And I was going in a rickshaw from the railway station to the ashram, a cycle rickshaw. And I still remember, we stopped at a busy traffic intersection, and traffic, noise, everybody's honking, and dust and heat, and just the opposite of Mayavati. And that moment I still remember distinctly, a sudden, stunning, deep stillness and silence. That silence is there everywhere. Here also it is there. Everywhere. In Manhattan also it's there. Everywhere it's there. And we say in our order, those who stay for many, many years in Mayavati, the silence of Mayavati enters into them. It becomes part of their very nature, constitution. Anyway, so here it is a deeper silence than that. Brahman itself, pure consciousness itself, is the silence. Wittgenstein said, the limits of the world are limits of my language. Limits of my language are the limits of the world. Whatever you can describe by language, that is your world. But there is something that lies beyond language. And Wittgenstein says towards the end of his book, Tractatus Logico-Philosophicus, he says, that which is beyond, we must pass over in silence. Very cryptical. Nobody has explained. People are still banging their heads trying to understand what he meant. I'm giving it an Advaitic interpretation. May not be, but still I'm giving it that interpretation.
What is the anahata?
The what? Anahata. Yes, that's also Brahman. Anahata means unstruck. So this is a struck sound. I strike it. But anahata, the Zen masters, they say, what is the sound of one hand clapping? No, clapping, not that. Somebody said they clap. That's not clapping, that's slapping. One hand clapping. One hand clapping. So it is the silence after Om. Silence after Om. Yes, we have run out of time. Time to fall silent. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.